It's time for your statewide Alabama weathercast.
Good morning, I'm meteorologist Drew McCombs with the Alabama Weather Network, and this is your mid-morning forecast update. And we've got a cool picture here from our skywatcher Daniel Harbin up in Trenton in Paint Rock Valley. And this was they had the Leonids meteor shower. We've got that going on right now. And so, of course, we had the Aurora last week that was a sort of a space weather kind of thing. And we've got the Leonids here this week. So you can see this little streak right here on the long exposure. That's a meteor right there. Beautiful skies otherwise there, so pretty cool to be able to see that. And we've had a good bit of clear skies out there to allow that kind of thing to be possible. Although looking at our satellite and radar today, you got to see a few more, or as we start off this morning, a few more clouds off to the west, some high clouds streaming into parts of the northern part of the state, and then also down in the southwestern part of the state as well. So a little bit more clouds mixed in versus what we saw for a good portion of last week, but we still expect to be mostly dry throughout this week. But rain chances will be increasing as we head towards the end of the week. So looking at Russellville Skycam, you can see here again some high clouds here and there, blue skies as well. The fall colors really popping there in the northwestern part of the state. It's 53 degrees there, and the dew point's at 23 degrees. As we move further to the southwest, we'll eventually see some higher dew points, but most of the dry air has filtered in behind the front that came through yesterday, so that we do have very dry air in place across most of the state at this point. As we take a look at our brand new Skycam atop the Region Center in downtown Birmingham, really cool view there looking back off towards the west. And you can see that we have a mixture of a few high clouds, blue skies, otherwise 59 degrees. And so again, we'll have a fairly nice day across a good portion of the state and feeling pretty good out there as well. Get a little bit of a breeze out of the northeast generally. But a little bit of a mixture here and there. Here's a look at the fire that is occurring near Talladega at this point. So this started, I think, yesterday, still producing a lot of smoke, as you can see here looking at the Bald Rock camera. And it's 56 degrees there, so it's a pretty nice feel there atop the Bald Rock. But yeah, we've got a good bit of smoke still with this. And as we take a look at the Mount Cheaha camera, we're looking kind of back off in that same direction, but from the other side, we're looking back off towards the northwest, and I think some of this smoke you're seeing right here is streaming from that same fire there. Again, beautiful fall colors there across Mount Cheaha and the nearby ridges. Looking at our fire tracker here, so I'm pretty sure this is what we're looking at here on the camera. So again, here's Talladega right here. Got Shockoe Springs here, and Renfro back to the southwest. But you can see a fairly wooded, fairly remote area right there that has the large fire at this point. And from the Alabama Forestry Commission, showed around 99 acres. You say yesterday's area was in the yellow. Today it's covering the red. Now, according to their status on this, it is considered contained. But producing a good bit of smoke there. So if you're in the area, especially kind of downwind of where the fire is blowing, which would be kind of more towards the southwest, you could be getting a decent amount of smoke there for a little bit over the course of the day today. All right, here's a look further south at Dozier at 65 degrees there. Dew point is up a little bit compared to a little bit further to the north, still fairly dry, but up around 39 degrees for that dew point. And as we move further to the south and we get to the coast, again, we can see now we're into the upper 50s. So we're nearly 60 degrees for the dew point. So that really dry air hasn't made it all the way down to the coast. You can see it's 67 degrees there. We definitely started off a lot warmer this morning in the southwest part of the state than the northern part of the state. We'll see that here in a second. So again, the story for today, cooler today generally, especially in the kind of northeastern 3/4 of the state, I guess. Highs will be near 80 Wednesday and Thursday. Very possible we might break a few high temperature records as we get into this time frame, because we'll be starting fairly warm in the mornings after the next morning or so. And then rain really begins to return on Friday for most of the state. Could see a passing shower or two in the northern part of the state before then. We'll talk more about that here in a second. Now here were the low temperatures so far this morning. So a pretty big contrast from north to south. We got down below freezing in Gadsden, got to 30 degrees there, got to freezing in Coleman at 32, got to 38 in Birmingham, 43 in Selma, 30s and 40s across a good portion of the northern part of the state. And as you move to the south, though, as we didn't get all that dry air quite as far south overnight, you only got down to 54 in places like Monroeville, 58 in Atmore, and only 61 in Gulf Shores. So again, good bit of contrast there based on the position of that front. All right, our Skywatcher reports. You can see that again, similar story there. Robert Bradford in Empire hit 34 degrees, so getting close to freezing there. Matt Nicholson in Oxford hit 35. Stephen Mizell in Hayden, 37. Same thing from Chris Cheatwood in Anniston, and Bud Bean in Northport got down to 42 degrees. Our temperatures right now, we've warmed up fairly nicely in the northern part of the state. We're already at 58 degrees in Gadsden. It's 62 in Birmingham, 62 in Alexander City. We're at 66 in Greenville. And then we're already at 70 in places like Atmore and Chatham, and we're already above 70 in Mobile and Gulf Shores. Now, looking at the temperature change from this time yesterday, especially in the northern part of the state, you see quite a bit cooler than we were this time yesterday with that cold start. So 10 degrees cooler in Gadsden, close to that in Coleman as well, and a lot of 5 to 10 degree ranges across a portion of the northern part of the state. A few places towards the south, though, actually a little bit warmer, where you didn't quite get that cooler, dry air all the way to the south. Forecast highs for today, we expect to be in the upper 60s in the northern part of the state, and as you move to the south, well into the 70s, upper 70s very possible, and we might even be flirting with 80 degrees down in places like Chatham and Mobile today, but we really expect as we get into the next several days, we'll have a much better chance of having a lot of places around 80 degrees or a little bit higher. So here's what's going on with the overall setup. So we have this high pressure that is now moving in over the area. It'll continue to shift to the east over the course of the week, and eventually, fairly quickly, we'll see return flow of moisture coming back in around the other side of that. And we've got a front off to the west, and we're going to see for most of the week, we'll have kind of a developing system off to the west that will be producing a good bit of rain and thunderstorms back to our west, but won't quite really get here as much until we get into Friday and into Saturday. And we'll look at that in our futurecast here. So here's kind of that stalled front here that moved through yesterday as we put our futurecast into motion here. Eventually, as we get later on into today and into tomorrow, that'll start to lift back up north again, and you'll see some showers and thunderstorms up in Tennessee and Kentucky, but we don't really expect anything here as we get into Tuesday morning. And then as we move further on into Wednesday, you saw a few passing showers in the northern part of the state Wednesday. That could be, we certainly could see that. We're not really showing a lot in our forecast, very small chances there, but could see a stray shower or two in North Alabama Wednesday and even on Thursday as well. And you can see Thursday evening, a few heavier showers, maybe thunderstorms not too far away. And as you look back off to the northwest, that's where those heavier showers and thunderstorms are going to be ongoing with the system that will eventually move in our direction as we get into, and it's looking like later Friday into Saturday at this point. The timing is still a little unsure as we take a look at that. Here's your rainfall outlook. So still showing a pretty good gradient of rainfall where we're seeing potentially 2 to 3 inches in the northwest corner of the state. And then as you move to the southeast, totals are down a little bit. We could still get close to an inch in Birmingham, but as you move further to the south, places like Dothan may get very, very little out of this, unfortunately. So the southeastern corner of the state not looking like they're going to see a ton of rain with this, but other parts of the state could do decently. So again, we'll kind of hope we can try to push some of this a little bit further to the southeast, but not looking too good at this point. Looking at your forecast dew points, again, this kind of tells a story about what's going to be happening with the temperatures going forward through the week as far as the low temperatures are concerned. So tonight we'll have enough drier air still in place tonight that we'll still see some fairly cool temperatures, especially in the eastern part of the state. But you'll note that pretty quickly with that front moving back to the north, we get 60-degree dew points and higher back up into pretty much the entire state by Wednesday morning. And so mornings will not be as chilly this week generally as they have been recently. It'll be fairly mild in the mornings, and that's going to, again, allow us to heat up pretty efficiently and nicely as we get into the afternoons, and that's why we're going to be so warm later on this week. So again, for today, still fairly nice and dry and sunny in the northern part of the state, getting into the upper 60s. And then you see we warm up pretty quickly, 76 degrees for the high temperature for tomorrow. Low tonight, in the 40s generally in the northern part of the state, but then here are those warmer lows, upper 50s, low 60s. And then again, small rain chances on Wednesday and Thursday, just an isolated shower or two possible. Better chances of rain, especially in the northwestern side of the state as we get into Friday, especially Friday late and into kind of lingering into Saturday morning. And then things should start to dry out as we get into Sunday of this weekend. For South Alabama, definitely warmer today than the northern part of the state, getting up to around 76 degrees, a good bit of sunshine, getting up into the upper 70s, around 80 degrees. And then again, the lows start coming up. And then we have several days where we're probably going to be reaching widespread low 80s and potentially breaking some records in some areas. And then again, Friday, smaller chances of rain, especially as you move to the east, but eventually it will get here. But the timing will be a little bit later in the southern part of the state so that it lingers a little bit more into Saturday. But again, as we showed on the map earlier, not expecting as much rainfall, unfortunately, in the south than what we're expecting to see in the north. Well, that is your Alabama forecast update. We appreciate you watching us here on the Alabama Weather Network.